And finally this week, the financial aid process and stages. And again, a very high level, 30,000 foot view of the process. But this is again helpful to kind of visualize and map out in your mind exactly what the journey ahead looks like. All right. So here's broken down. I'm going to break it down into 4 stages. I call it the pre-application stage, application stage, the awards and the appeal stage, and decision and loan stage. So the pre-application stage really starts your junior year and goes to October 1st. Why October 1st? Well, October 1st is the first day that the financial aid applications are available to complete. Something we also will get to. So this stage can be important in the fact that a lot of parents, I don't want to say waste their time, but they'll go and visit schools and get their son or daughter's hopes up with schools that have maybe poor financial aid philosophies, or when they really understand a financial aid equation, they realize they would have never looked at those schools. Now think about it. You're spending time, money, energy, maybe hotel rooms, maybe you flew to a different state to take a look at schools, yet you never factored in the financial aid piece to this. And that's another reason why junior year is such a great year to really get started on taking a look at college financial aid, because you can avoid wasting your own time, or even worse, getting your son or daughter really fixated on schools where once you realize how it all works, you come to the realization that they don't really have good financial aid philosophies. And if you're thinking at the business approach, like we talked about last week in module 2, this week, but in module 2, you realize that's not the right approach to take, or take that approach at your own peril. Because good luck trying to get a 18-year-old son or daughter who has their heart set on a particular school, trying to get them to think about a different school because of the finances. That is not an easy conversation. So that's really the pre-application stage, is really kind of just taking a very systematic approach to the schools that you're going to really hone in on and put on that wish list, if you will, as far as the schools you're going to apply to come senior year. Application stage starts October 1st and goes to March 1st. This is when the applications come due, and they're available starting October 1st. And the deadlines for each school, which will vary from school to school, really starts right away, especially if you're doing early admission or early action, which we'll talk about, early decision or early action, which we'll talk about later on. But for the most part, if you're not doing early action or early decision, the deadlines for financial aid applications really start around January 1st and go really all the way up to April 1st as far as the deadlines for you to have the financial aid applications into the schools. Okay, so that's why it's called the application stage, because that's when all the applications are being filled out. Again, something that we will go very much in depth to on the best practices and a total tutorial on how to fill out the application, so don't worry, but just know what the stage is. Next would be the awards in the appeal stage. This is from March 1st to April 30th, and this is when the financial aid awards start trickling back to you as a family, and you're reviewing them, you're taking a look at them, you're preparing them from school to school, something that you'll be very well versed in once we take a look at that in the module that goes over that. And then you're also going to be looking at appealing the financial aid awards, and this is your chance to negotiate with the school to get more money. Okay, this entire process is really starting around March 1st and is going to go all the way up to April 30th. Why April 30th? Well, because May 1st is the decision deadline. That's when housing deposits have to be in, and that's when you're really making a decision on what school you're going to go to and attend that fall. And that's why the awards and the appeals should be all wrapped up right around May 1st. That coincides with the decision that you're going to make. Most likely, that's when you're going to be submitting your housing deposit for those majority of kids that are living on campus, and really securing your financial aid award, saying, yes, we're going to go to this school. And now you move into the decision and loan stage, and the loans part of the loan stage really starts on May 1st and goes to August 1st. And this is when the dust settles, you have your financial aid award, and now you understand what your net cost is. And your net cost is going to be how much of this cost of attendance is on us as a family, okay? And you're going to figure out how much you have to come up with as a family. And most families just can't cut a check. They have to borrow the money. And that's the stage in the process where we review all the loans that are available and how you're going to come up with that money out of pocket that you can't come up out of pocket and borrow, and hopefully something that we've reduced greatly by taking this systematic approach and really capitalizing on maximizing that financial aid award and being eligible for the most amount of money possible by positioning you in the right spot. That loan stage is not a stage where you're going to be borrowing great amounts of money. It's almost impossible not to borrow money at all to go to school, but we're certainly trying to manage this as best we possibly can. But it's during this stage that some of those loans I mentioned, like the PLUS loan and the New Jersey class loans, for example, and even private lenders, that's when you're kind of deciphering what's the best route for you and your family. And then the tuition bill for fall semesters usually due around August 1st. So it's a 10-month process starting really junior year. But the 10 months, really the clock starts as far as the application phase itself, 10-1 to 8-1, as far as really the applications, the awards, the appeals, the ultimate decision, and then the loans itself. Okay, so just at this point, just have to mentalize this. You don't have to know all about the stages. I haven't gone into it at all. We're going to break down every single stage in great detail. It's going to be their own modules, so don't worry. Again, we're just taking a really high-level approach here, and just in your mind know what they are, what they mean, and the general time frames for each.